Hello everybody, I just want to give you a quick update on the Trusted Employer Scheme. I was able to attend on behalf of some of our large clients who we successfully applied for TES last week in an information session hosted online by the Department of Home Affairs. And attending were lots of representatives of the companies registered with TES scheme, as well as actually various officials overseas at the missions. And I think some of the information, although the Department of Home Affairs said, the MOUs are confidential, and I agree with that, some of the information is quite important and might answer some of the questions of TES registered companies. So the first question which was asked is really, when is it starting? And the answer to that is when the company receives the signed MOU back from the Department of Home Affairs. So as a matter of fact, they're already ready. They've implemented all the systems. They have dedicated the GDDA and special offices of VFS where you need to submit. So they're ready. So it's a very fast implementation, and I think it's a very good sign that the registered TES companies can already start with it. One important point in my previous written update on this was also not very clear. I shared already that the Saka Requirement has been waived for various visa, well, critical skills and general work visa. But I think it is very important to explain that the companies still need to potentially do the Saka of the foreigner, but afterwards. So I think Home Affairs was very clear that the whole Trusted Employer Scheme is basically Home Affairs trusts the employers because they have been vetted. I mean, there was a scorecard, there was an application process. So the companies which are trusted have been accredited, and now they get the benefit of getting the work visas for their employees very quickly. And that means no Saka requirement, therefore saving 3 to 4 months potentially in getting the foreign labor in. But the employer still needs to afterwards or parallel do Saka or MIE, which is a different body, and also look that the applicant meets the NQF level. Okay, so I think it's very important. If you apply for critical skills for a foreigner, you still need to meet the requirements by law. And the employer needs to prove that to Home Affairs, or need to keep the records at least, to be able to prove to Home Affairs, should they come and inspect, that the applicant who is on a critical skills visa actually does have the NQF level, and that the employer did, or the employee did, then on behalf of the employer, obviously, the Saka level. Okay, so the requirement hasn't been waived that it doesn't exist anymore. It just means that basically the application process has been accelerated very, very quickly. So that was an important point in the whole online seminar. There were lots of questions back and forth, and sometimes also a little bit contradictory, and I could imagine that there might be future questions around this. But I think for employers, it's very important. You still need to comply with the law for critical skills or general work visa, but you have the advantage of a time advantage, so to say. Okay. Then obviously, yes, the record keeping already said, but I mean, that's normal legislation anyway. 2 years after the foreign employee stopped working, you need to keep the records. Home Affairs reserves the right for an inspection. And then obviously all the other undertakings which were already part of the Immigration Act and regulations are still in place. So nothing really fundamentally changes. And then, yeah, I think the benefits are already elaborated in one of my previous videos. You will see a link later on down here, so you can look at the advantages. And in conclusion, I think even that meeting was quite long. It was much longer than expected. Lots of questions, very useful questions. I think also very usefully conducted from the Home Affairs officials who are in charge of this project. So I'm quite hopeful that this really benefits the large employers. The only concern I have that now lots of corporates who have missed out on the maybe a bit tight deadline want to register as well. And it was said that this is a pilot project and that they first want to assess the success of the pilot, and they don't know when they're going to reopen it. And I do think that potentially there might be quite a bit of pressure now on Home Affairs to reopen this quite quickly, because I do think that a lot of corporates feel that they have missed out and that they also qualify. So I will see how that goes. But overall, really impressive. Let's see how it works in practice, but I don't think it's gonna, it's gonna blow up. I think it's gonna work. I think the right people were involved and the structures have been put in place, and it's a big step for South Africa to be more competitive. Thanks. Cheers.